Right, there is Kanjambugwa, Mfalme Mkuu, and this is just a special edition of Morning Prime this Friday, Uongozi Today, where we commemorate the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I don't know where you're joining us from in celebrating Easter, but we continue, of course, with the show and a little bit of dedication on what the import of this day is and also what it has to do with your life and many others as well. Many have no sorting idea about what it means maybe, but or they don't really care or think about what it means maybe. But we shall be just looking at that and try and extrapolate the import of that with our current state of play, especially in a country where the conscience is really seared as far as fighting corruption is concerned. This morning I'm joined with our crew, as always, our panelists. We have with us Kipruto Rapkiro, who's a governance and policy analyst. Also, we're joined by Dr. Martin Olo, who is an advocate, also head of School of Law at the Desta University. We have with us Professor Fred Ogola as well, and who's an economist. And we do have with us Professor Jonah Kindiki, who is a governance and policy analyst. Maybe just to hear from them what they're planning for this weekend. I had to just hijack their plans for the Easter, starting early, right? So I told them, hey, there's no going to Naivasha.
Yes. There's no...
so all roads will lead to Naivasha after the show.
No, there are no candidates for Vasha here.
There's no candidate for Vasha?
No. These are...
You are not a sports fan, you're not fast and furious, you know, you don't like the adrenaline rush from the rally race.
Well, as age comes by, you realize that
you tend to slow.
Not everything is that serious. Yeah, a few things are not very serious, but I think that what is important today is that all of us, if you are a Catholic mostly, or if you live in SAK, you should be carrying some cross, walking on the street, sweating and saying rosaries.
In fact, I thought you'd have come with a cross here, donning one.
We have them somewhere. You know, nowadays
he's donning different types of
I think he's been talking about the spear, but
no, he's saying he's carrying a different cross of taxes and.
Yeah, that's why the headline looks very good at Standard.
We'll go to the headlines in a moment. Yeah. But let's hear from Kipruto or Rapkiro.
Well, Naivasha is good. I will be watching from the media, and because I've been watching it from 1972 when I came back to Kenya, and as you get old, it gets less and less interesting, because the speeds we don't really appreciate at our age. You don't go beyond 100 unless there is a problem. So at times when you see those moves, they are too dangerous.
Yeah. They always say that don't rush the grandfather's clock. Yeah?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. There's a saying that says, don't rush the grandfather's clock. Yeah, you need to go with his pace.
Yeah.
Ndiki, good morning, good to see you.
Morning. It's good. It's good that we have the safari that is going on, but as our colleagues are saying, we have been watching this for many years. Actually, 70s when we were in the high school, through a university life. I think now as we get old, it's interesting, especially to the young people, and even older people like us, but we have other things to do.
Fantastic.
This is Good Friday.
It's Good Friday.
So I would like
we shall
to
discuss about
so
Good Friday a bit.
Prayers and the reflection of the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. To me, I give it a priority.
Fantastic.
Today, this weekend.
All right, Martin Olo.
Well, today is my day to be with my family, and I don't know why you think I should be here on the screen. This morning when I left, my wife was
This
still
is part of your family as well. It's an extension of your... Yeah?
I agree. But I left my wife. So, but it's a good day to just sit back and think through life and think through the import of salvation, the import of the Lord in our lives. Because it is important that we know where we come from.
Right.
So that we avoid being taken back to traditional religion. I haven't mentioned anybody, but the laughter on my right is very loud.
Yeah.
But it's one of those good days, and today I intend to be easy. I'm glad that I have some good news from my good friend, Honorable Kirwa, because he has made a move which is very important.
Which move is this?
He has submitted his proposal for PhD.
Oh, finally.
It has been an issue between me and him for a long time. and I'm also going to call
So we're almost there.
I'm going to call up his professor because I know the professor. So just to confirm. Just to confirm.
If what you're saying, it's really true.
So I'm still on his case.
Fantastic.
By the time I'm done with him, he'll be a PhD holder.
Yeah, I think that's very useful, Diba. To get somebody who pushes you is very useful. In fact, I realized in politics, those who don't support you are the ones who make you better. So he's fighting me. And in the process, I'm going to get better.
Indeed. You need such good friends who will egg you on, trying to make you come from that lethargy that you're in. But also today, as far as politics is concerned, we can look at the politics also of the trial of Jesus. Just briefly, I know. Yes, and we'll pick the brains of some of our brains here regarding the trial of Jesus itself. Was it an unfair trial? Did it follow the judicial system of the day? Right? Moment, we shall also just be scooping in there. And I think this is where you'll really come in handy. I don't know. That is the Constitution of Jerusalem, according to the Constitution or the Roman, the Roman Empire by then. Yes, but of course there was a Sanhedrin, and there was a Roman Empire, and there was a mesh of all those together, brought to bear at the palace of Pilate. We shall be looking at that as well. But let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. We begin with the bold paper. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard to the Kenyans on the cross. This is the splash today. Kenyans on the cross, just like Judas Iscariot kissed Jesus Christ to betray him to Herod's men. Kenyans MPs cuddled the populace at the altar of taxation. And as Christians honor the sacrifice Christ made for humanity, Kenyans are reeling with empty pockets this holy weekend. The effect of high levies and the battered economy. You have a story on page 6 and 7 of the Standard today. Man and machine, all roads lead to Naivasha. That is Safari Rally, as you can see it here. President Ruto, accompanied by Sports CS Cap Ababu Namwamba, flags off the 2024 WRC Safari Rally at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi yesterday. The rally will see top rally cars and drivers traverse the rough terrains of Naivasha starting today. You have a story on page 2, 31 and 32 of the Standard today. Mudavadi decries wastage, warns state officials. That is another story on page 10 of the Standard. Will Amoth be lucky this time around? Well, lucky about what? It's just about the position he's been holding in an acting capacity for almost 5 good years right now. And everyone is wondering, will he be lucky this time forth to make sure that he's confirmed as the Director General. All right, the editor, management and staff of Standard wish our esteemed readers and advertisers a happy Easter holiday. All right, wherever you are enjoying it, we wish you a happy Easter. Islamic banking spreads wings in East Africa. That is on the world pages of the Standard today. Read all about it. This is the first Islamic bank in Uganda. This is the Standard today. The Daily Nation, a tale of 2 Easters. A mixed bag. Ramadan is on and schools are yet to close. Big divide. While millions of Kenyans have nothing to celebrate about this holiday season due to job losses, increased taxation, or a high cost of living, it's boom time for yet another group that made a killing from smart business deals and investments and now have a reason to splash the cash. It's a country of contrast. You have a story on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation. And Safari Rally is on its battle of the fastest as Ruto flags off Safari Rally. We'll give you that coverage as well on page. We have it on in our news bulletin, but you can follow it on page 3, 34 and 35 of the Daily Nation this morning. Echesa arrested over extortion, abduction. Former Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echesa was yesterday arrested in the city, with his lawyer saying he was seized over claims of extortion and staged managed abduction. Also, Treasury locked state firms' assets in austerity push. The National Treasury has banned provisions of approved expenditure budget by public corporations in a bid to curb wastage of taxpayers' funds. You have a story on page 4 of the Daily Nation this morning. Elderly siblings in court battle for mother's wealth also is a story you could follow today inside the Daily Nation this morning. Right, just jump to the second page there, but you can read all about why environmentalists want Mombasa Road project halted. That is inside the Daily Nation. Sabotage fears rock Ruto-Raila talks agreement. This is the Star today. Slow progress as Azimio cries foul over no sense of urgency. Joint team has had 2 botched meetings, no scheduled meetings in near term. You have a story on page 4 and 5 of the Star today. And also fun-filled Easter as Safari rally takes off as well is another story you can follow inside the Star. No COVID in Kenya, it's just the flu, says Dr. Moth. The Ministry of Health has belatedly disputed reports of a spike in COVID-19 cases caused by a new variant. The claims were made by doctors 2 weeks ago. Some said they were seeing patients they suspected had emergent JN1, that is COVID-19 variant, and JSC orders ethnic composition audit for judiciary staff. The Judicial Service Commission has ordered an audit of the ethnic composition of its workforce. A recent Public Service Commission report shows public sector jobs are dominated by a few tribes. The JSC said on Thursday the diversity audit is necessary to ensure balanced ethnic representation in judiciary jobs. You have the story on page 7 of the Star. Isli from Speedy Sabab to Swanky Hub. You can follow from City Sabab to Swanky Hub. You can follow it on page 11 of the Daily Nation this morning. How to approach the Haiti crisis before deploying police officers. Right, read all about it in the Siasa pages of Siasa inside the Star. Kilio kuhusu mbolea is what is on the front page of Taifa Leo. Wakulima wa bonde la ufa kunakozalishwa chakula kwa wingi wasema waliuziwa mbolea feki katika NCPB. Mtafaruku, mzozo kuhusu usambazaji wa mbolea bandia unaendelea kuchacha huku wakulima wakimlaumu waziri wa kilimo Mithika Linturi kwa kusimamia vibaya sekta ya kilimo. You have a story inside the Taifa Leo as well. You know it by now. Sakaja ataka majumba kurefushwa. This also has sparked a lot of debate regarding the skyscrapers and the building codes in Nairobi. Read all about it inside Taifa Leo. Let's buckle down to some business where Japanese auto giant shakes Kenya's cars spare parts markets. Kaiho sets up first part auction, takes on Nyamakima Industrial Area Traders, Japanese trading firm that is Kaiho Industry Company Limited. Kaiho Industry Company Limited will on Wednesday next week launch Kenya's first second-hand motor vehicle spare parts auction in Nairobi, a move that is expected to save motorists and garages the time and cost of importation. Kaiho, which is being supported by Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, will also offer parts traceability to differentiate itself through quality of its product. Very important right now because also people are raising questions regarding the quality of these products that are in the market right now. Could there be contribution to the accidents because of also some very dodgy and wanting spare parts? You can read all about it inside the Business Daily this morning. Also, state cuts import duty to 2.5 million shillings per container after outcry. The government has reversed a recent increase of import duty from 2.5 million shillings to 3 million shillings for a container of goods, yielding to pressure from traders. State firms banned from revising approved budgets. 31 new hotels coming up in Kenya this year. Shipping agents sue over new Sudan cargo fees. All that inside the publication today of a Business Daily. In Tanzania, not all doom and gloom as SOEs lose 400 billion shillings. State-owned, let me try and zoom in, enterprises collectively lost nearly 400 billion shillings in 2022-2023, according to the latest report by the Controller and Auditor General. But some slashed their losses compared to the preceding financial year. You can follow the story inside The Citizen as well. Capitalize on UK import scheme, businesses urged. Hungary set to reopen embassy after 3 decades in Tanzania. Read all about it inside The Citizen. Yala takes message of peace to parliamentary meeting in Geneva. And in Rwanda, there's a question that is a splash today. Why does Uchumi still trade on Rwanda Stock Exchange? Why does Uchumi still trade on Rwanda Stock Exchange? Uchumi still trades on Rwanda bourse despite folding operations. This is the story that you want to follow inside the New Times this morning. This is our own Uchumi, which is listed there. And now there isn't questions. Why is it being? This is still on the bourse. Rwandan envoys visits troops in northern Mozambique. And you can see Rwanda's High Commissioner in Mozambique, Donath Damage, being welcomed in northern Mozambique by Major General Alexis Kagame, the Rwanda Security Force Joint Task Force Commander. Ambassador Damage's one-day visit was to interact with the RSF commander and gain factual information on the overview of the security situation in Cabo Delgado province. That story continues inside the New Times as well. BK Group's net profit grew 25% in 2023 is another story you can follow inside the Rwanda Times. Forest bill. What changes did Parliament make to penalties? All that inside the publication today. And this week, this has been the splash on the front page of East African, back like he never left. Museveni's Museveni's son, General Muhoozi, is now army chief after his promotion coming at a time. The veteran leader is going for 7th term. Question is standby generator now on or off? And the story continues on page 10 of the East African this week. The battle for Uganda's petrol import millions. Tanzania is availing itself of business as Nairobi and Kampala haggle over red tape, giving Museveni a deal he can't refuse. But this has been resolved so far. Things back to normal as far as the recent information is concerned. You can follow the story on page 5. So trade between Uganda and Kenya will continue apace as usual. Uncertainty clouds polls timelines in South Sudan. Machar pushes for an extension of voting date as state grapples with poor preparedness. You have a story on page 8 and 9 of the East African. EAC caught underfunded, overwhelmed. Regional court officials struggle to clear backlog as partner states sue each other every other day. You have a story on page 21 of the East African this week. All right, nation of bribes. A Judas moment. That is what we have as the editorial cartoon. And you can see, even as we are commemorating the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, there was a Judas moment. And now we're asking ourselves, is this a Judas moment for this country? I can see Professor Ogola is nodding. And what is your remark looking at that editorial cartoon?
Yeah, well, you know, what is happening is that
just deciphering the cartoon.
Yeah, if you look there,
don't overbrain it like a professor. Yes. Just go straight. Yeah, look, the cartoon is asking you. Don't go abstract on corruption.
Yeah, but I'm giving you actually the biblical origin of this. It was coins. By then it was coins, isn't it? It was not a little money. It was silver. How many pieces of silver?
30.
30 pieces. The problem is that nowadays 30 pieces of silver cannot bribe anybody. You can see now you need more than 30.
It's 30 pieces, but now the value is...
The value is much bigger. So that's the difference. But also if you look here, for Jesus, it looks like Jesus was destined to betray, Judas was destined to betray Judas because Jesus had to die for our salvation. If you look at this movie which has been said, Jesus Christ Superstar. But what is interesting is that even the Bible acknowledges that betrayal is bad. That's why Jesus says that, "Woe to him who will do it." And I like how the Bible, even the gospel reads today. The gospel today, which is a long gospel, the Passion gospel, saying it was getting dark. You know, it was getting dark means now the powers of darkness begins. So it was getting dark is when now Judas was actually going to betray. So it means that even in this country, it's getting dark now, that bribes is becoming very high. Actually, they said it has doubled. The papers were saying that it has doubled, bribery has doubled, and the services have not even improved. You know, people bribe to access government services, to get jobs, but it's doubled. I also met someone who told me that it's very clear in Bungoma County. If you want to be a registered nurse, you just pay 120,000 shillings and they get you the job. So why should people do now? My brother Kira has submitted his proposal. You rather look for money. Why are you submitting your proposal? Is it really necessary? The questions being asked here are really serious questions. But mostly people have said that in Kenya, there is nothing that you can get without bribery. But I want to say that also equally there are so many things, there are so many people of goodwill, and we tend to talk too much about the wrong things. The wrong things are not outweighing the good things. And I still believe that just today we are talking about Jesus being arrested, that the evil cannot overcome good. In the end, light will overcome darkness. So I have a lot of hope as well.
All right, let's hear from Kipruto Rapkirwa.
Well, I get worried when I see that, and I get worried when I know we are making it a national discussion, national discourse. Because in Kenya today, for one to be a police person, a police officer, or a military person, it is between 500,000 and 800,000. It worries me because if a policeman bribes to get the job, what will stop him just taking bribery throughout his life, hopefully to recoup the money that the father or the parents paid for that job to be gotten? But what is worrying me is that fundamentally we are destroying our society. We are destroying the very essence of existence as Kenyans. Such that today you present a certificate from any university in Kenya, people start cross-checking whether you really did the course or you just bribed your way into getting that particular certificate. It worries me because the standards are falling, and when standards fall, the very essence of our nation is going to be destroyed. And I don't know why the Bible amplifies that particular aspect, and yet, as Professor Ogola said, it seems Jesus was destined to be betrayed. So it was like, this is a journey that you must go through, and even betrayal was part of the rituals that had to be performed for Jesus to die because of our sins. So anyway, it worries me every day. It worries me. I'm actually a more worried Kenyan than I was some time back. I'm more worried because when I was an MP, we could get 2 or 3 positions that you can assist in some needy cases. In terms, it could have been, of course, another form of corruption. But as a member of parliament, you would get 1 or 2. Today, you will find an ordinary fellow in the street will get about 10 positions. And what you will do is go to sell those admissions to police or to the military for between, as I said, 500 to 800,000. And why it is being masterminded by the state, it worries me. Because those letters have come from somewhere within the system. So it worries me that parents must sell their parcels of land, because many of these parents don't have money. So they have to sell a parcel of land. They possibly residing in 2 acres, they sell 1 acre for the child to go to the military with the hope that he will come and get back the land that they sold. Some have done so, but many of them don't, because they end up drinking and wasting away. And the parents still retain the portion that was left. Yeah.
All right, Martin Low.
The cartoon or the editorial depiction attracts me in 3 ways. One, it is pointing to a people that we trust who have betrayed us. So Judas wasn't somebody from the streets. Judas was part and parcel of Jesus' 12. In fact, he was the treasurer of that group. And so the message is that it is those that we are entrusting with power, with ability to take care of us, that are betraying us. So that when you look at the Judas example now, it is to ask ourselves, why are we where we are? Is it that the Judas or the people that we've trusted have become the Judas on us? And on a day like this, when we are commemorating the death at the cross, it is so important that we look at it and ask the question, how else would we want to live if we know for sure that within ourselves there are those that will be bent to do wrongs? And that's why we also talk about the laws and talk about the constitution and so on, and to hope that there will be those that we have put in place that will help us to minimize. Today we are discussing shamelessly or without any shame that we are a nation of corruption, we are a nation of bribery. I think that's the worst you can describe of a home or a country, that we are just the worst of ourselves. So it means that we now need to go back to our basics and look at how we can at least halt or slow or at least stop our slide towards the wrong side. And the wrong side here is wastage, decadence. He's talking about you can't get a service without bribing. It's true. Now we have a more acceptable, or rather it's now more acceptable to walk to a place and expect that you'll be asked something for something small before you're given a service. And that's not what we want for ourselves as a nation. We want to be able to be proud of the fact that we can each get what it is that we deserve.
Fine, indeed. Right, let's hear from Professor Kindiki as well.
Thank you. I think for me, the more you talk of something, the more it's likely to occur, because looking at the situation in Kenya, people talk of corruption as if it's something that is very, very normal. Going back to Judas, Judas was a very important person because he formed one of the most important people among the 12 disciples. And as we commemorate the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ this season, I think the cartoon there is really giving us a real situation of what happened, because he was in the cabinet, call it cabinet or maybe parliament or whatever, or parliament of Jesus or cabinet of those in quotes. It was not a cabinet, but when Jesus wanted to discuss important matters, Judas was always present because he was one of the 12. And therefore, being an important person, and he himself carrying the accounts docket, he must have been also somebody who had basic knowledge, or very, not really basic, but information about accounts, about to keep money. And we see Judas negatively. And I think this has brought a lot of issues now, even in the current situation in our country, where you find that those people were entrusted in positions, not in cabinet, not in the parliament, not in the civil service, everywhere you go. And incidentally, even in the church, where people call themselves Christians, because today we are remembering or commemorating the resurrection and thinking of the resurrection and of Jesus Christ. So many of us who are Christians, you find this issue of corruption is still in our existence, or wherever we are working, because we represent communities. So Judas is seen as a very bad person, but even us as Christians, we should look at ourselves and our lives and our contribution to once, going against the teachings of corruption, because this has been so much glorified. And it's like obvious, when you want to get a job, you must have something. I have personal experience of a young man who told me, now, you see, Prof, he called me, Prof, can you assist me with some money? I asked for what? And he says, you see now, these days, I want a job and I am very broke. You see, it's like he accepts. the process of, getting money, regardless of his financial situation, to get money in the pocket, because he knew very well when he goes to the office, he will be asked for something. And he is ready to give. He is ready to give. So I think as Kenyans, one thing happens somewhere, then it goes like a spiral. There's a ripple effect. And that's why you see this week there was, that advert of the most corrupt ministries. They can list them. Even the ones that are not in that list, they are still corrupt. Yeah. They are still corrupt. You can't deny the fact, because it is something that is only something like institutionalized. People have taken it as a, and I think it's a high time for Kenyans now. We have to we have to stop this kind of glorification of corruption and the issues to do with the betrayal and all these things, because corruption goes with the betrayal. Indeed. You betray the trust people have given you. We appoint you in a certain position, thinking you are going to help people, but you are thinking also the ripple effect I'm talking about is that you might have been there due to a corrupt process, and therefore, for you to assist somebody, you must also have a corrupt process. So it goes in a spiral way, and it goes and affects everyone in the country. And I think it's not a one person's job. It's for all of us as Kenyans, as we commemorate this very important festival of Easter.
Thank you.
Thinking about the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we look into our lives and see whatever we are given, even in a very small way, wherever we work, we try to be as trusted people so that we can have some kind of effect and we stop this menace of corruption, because it's too much.
Right. Too much it is, and of course we want to see how too much it is also in the Ministry of Agriculture, where we've seen people are calling for the resignation of the minister. A section of leaders now want Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi to resign from office over the current fake subsidized fertilizer scandal. This as questions arise over whether two government parastatals, which are the Kenya Bureau of Standards, KEBS, and the National Cereals Produce Board, NCPP, should have done more to prevent the entry of fake fertilizer into the market. KTN's David Mudoka, start us off.
At this farm in Mugamba Shiura village in Kirinyaga County, these two farmers display bags of counterfeit fertilizer that they recently purchased. Inside the bags is a shocking mixture of sand, stones, as well as goat droppings, and not NPK 10-26-10, which the two farmers hope to use to plant.
Tumepigwa na mshangao kwa sababu kile tumepata sio kile tulitarajia.
Thousands of farmers across the country have experienced the same and are unable to plant since the start of the long rains.
Mbolea 10 nilipata almost kama 50%. Ni mbolea alafu zingine ni manure.
Farmers cannot suffer and watu wamekula pesa mingi. So kila mtu ambaye alinunua mbolea lazima arudishiwe pesa yake.
Their inability to plant not only exposes the country to food insecurity in the coming months, but also to an increase in the cost of food and thus a rise in the cost of living just when things had started to look up for the government and the country. A sheer look at these bags reveals that two government entities could have been responsible for their entry into the market. One of these entities is the Kenya Bureau of Standards KEBS, that has the primary duty of ensuring that every product meets a specified standard before it enters the Kenyan market. Yet, these bags, despite clearly having anything but fertilizer in them, have the KEBS mark of quality on them. Either KEBS tested and approved what was in the bags clearly against its standards, or the Bureau blindly trusted that the manufacturer, Kel Chemicals Limited, produces quality fertilizer and therefore did not bother to inspect their bags. In response, the government on Wednesday stopped distribution of this fertilizer.
Munaona serikali inajaribu kupambana na wakora wale wanataka kuwalagai wa Kenya na pia kujaribu kuwaletea kama kuwauzia mbegu mbaya.
Another entity that shoulders responsibility is the Kenya Cereals and Produce Board that was tasked with distributing the subsidized government fertilizer to farmers. Thousands of fake fertilizer bags have been impounded at NCPB's depots in recent weeks. In Molo, 560 bags were impounded just 4 days ago, while in Kakamega, 700 bags were impounded 8 days ago. Either the NCPB did not ascertain what was inside the bags before selling them to farmers, or knowingly sold the fake fertilizer to the farmers.
We are also going to make sure that those who sell fake seeds or fake fertilizer face the music that they deserve.
A section of members of parliament and leaders from the Western region want more. DAPK leader Eugene Wamalwa and Sirisia MP John Waluke, while in Bungoma and Malakisi respectively, called on Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi to take responsibility of the scandal and leave office.
Ingekuwa kule ng'ambo, huyo waziri wa kilimo hangekuwa bado ni waziri katika serikali yoyote.
Apepe msalaba wake. Rais hawezi kupea mtu kazi na anacheza na kazi.
The scandal poses a serious threat to President Ruto's agricultural transformation goal, which is one of the 5 bottom-up transformation agendas. It is further a direct affront to President Ruto, who after removing all other subsidies, only introduced fertilizer subsidy to boost production and ultimately make the country food secure. David Muthoka, KTN News.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader, Raila Odinga, has jetted back into the country after about 2 weeks abroad in a silent but rigorous campaign for the Africa Union Commission chairperson job. Odinga, who has visited the United Kingdom and Dubai, among other African nations, is expected to have an even more shuttling calendar in the month of April and May. And as KTN's political affairs reporter Model 2 now explains, the Azimio leader returns to a bitter succession battle that threatens to split his support base with a new youthful outfit dubbed Team Ground, announcing plans to take over the opposition role.
The former Prime Minister, who landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Thursday evening, has been out of the country for more than 10 days now. Reports indicate that Odinga has been to the United Kingdom and Dubai for a few days, and some in a West African country, as he ramps up his silent campaigns for the AU Commission chairperson job ahead of his formal submission by 15th of April. During his absence from the country, his social media handles also went quiet, with only one post in the past 1 week, which read, quote, "We have to awaken the dormant strength of the African continent. It's time for us to reignite our power and reclaim our rightful place in the world," end of quote.
Because you know that a candidate to be successful must get two-thirds physically, first round or second round. If you don't get two-thirds, then you're not elected. So I have to dialogue with virtually all leadership of the continent.
Although the government had announced that it would sponsor and back his bid, details of the amount of money which will be spent in the campaign period still remain scanty. However, according to records in Parliament, the government blew a whopping 437 million shillings in the unsuccessful bid to have former CS Amina Mohammed topple the now outgoing chair Musa Faki. And even after landing, Odinga will just be in the country for a few days before being airborne again for a rigorous campaign period next month and May. In April, Odinga will be traveling to Djibouti and Ethiopia to solidify his votes in the East African bloc. In May, the opposition leader will still be on the road with trips to Zimbabwe, Malawi, Angola, Zambia and Botswana. This schedule is, however, subject to change. Already, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been in Kenya and held a meeting with President William Ruto, where the former Prime Minister's bid was discussed. Odinga is also set to visit South Africa after the general elections, slated for 29th of May. President William Ruto is also expected to fly out to Ghana and Zimbabwe, as he is set to lead another campaign for Odinga during his state visits. And as he settles back into the country, the former Prime Minister will also be coming for a firefighting mission as the triple succession battle in his Azimio coalition, ODM party and Nyanza backyard, threatens to split his support base. A new team made up of young generation MPs has already announced plans to take over the opposition role.
Not limited to calling for maandamanos, regional maandamanos in every county, in every constituency, in every ward. And these maandamanos will better be imagined than experienced.
Lakini this is the ground team. Kwa hivyo tumesema ground team lazima tuongee maneno ambayo iko ground. Kwa hivyo ukituona hapa tukiwa pamoja, we are youthful, independent thinkers, we are the voices of the common wananchi.
Emmanuel To, KTN News, Nairobi.
Controversial former Sports Cabinet Secretary Rashid Echesa is set to spend a night in police custody. That was, of course, yesterday at Muthaiga Police Station in connection with allegations of extortion. The arrest, which was early yesterday, sparked protest from his two lawyers, Dunstan Omari and Cliff Ombeta, who claimed their client was being held incommunicado without their involvement. Odi Francis has more.
In a strange twist of events that reads like a script from a crime thriller, former Cabinet Minister Rashid Echesa found himself behind bars at the Muthaiga police station.
Rashid Echesa went to the regional DCI headquarters in Nairobi area. He was told that he has been arrested. He was told that the reasons for his arrest was that he had faked his kidnapping.
He finds himself in trouble in a web of allegations related to extortion.
There was a video circulating in social media where Rashid Echesa is kidnapped, he is handcuffed, and they told him that he stage managed that handcuff.
The former Sports Cabinet Secretary was apprehended at his residence on Thursday afternoon and is set to be presented in court on Tuesday next week, meaning he will spend an entire Easter holiday in the police cells. Dunstan Omari, Echesa's legal counsel, claims his client was being held under mysterious circumstances and that details surrounding his arrest remain shrouded in secrecy.
It is beyond 24 hours since Echesa was arrested. Today is a working day. The police have simply detained him so that they'll continue detaining him until Tuesday next week. Echesa will have stayed behind police bars for more than 8 days.
Do they want so that the injuries that he has suffered as a result of the torture to heal? Why are they going to keep him for 7 to 8 days? Is there something that they are preventing? This is the old days tricks whereby you are injured, you are hurt, and then they let you heal and they say there are no marks.
The arrest comes a week after Echesa's handler was on 20th March charged in Kibera court for allegedly extorting over 240 million shillings from Kakamega Governor Fernandes Baraza.
Echesa is handcuffed. Standing next to Echesa is the governor of Kakamega. He is there, and there are other bodyguards. What if Echesa kidnapped himself? What was the governor doing there? What was he doing there? He's not a policeman.
William Simiyu Matere, alias Elijah, appeared before the Kibera Senior Principal Magistrate Anne Mwangi, where he was charged with 2 counts of demanding property with menace and conspiracy to commit a felony. Odi Francis, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, a day after the Council of Governors, that is COG, directed striking doctors to obey court orders and resume work or face the sack, the KPMDU officials are still adamant that the strike is legit and within the law. And as Bramwell Bwire reports, the suffering of Kenyan patients is seemingly far from over as the unions and the government continues to flex their muscles.
It has been a sorry state for patients who seek medical attention in public hospitals, which unfortunately has not been forthcoming. The situation has been the same for over 2 weeks now. Some, like this elderly lady in Elgeyo Marakwet, turning away in despair.
We might not actually get to know exactly what is happening in our villages, and the CS should take the matter seriously and resolve it as soon as possible with the doctors. And the demands that the doctors are actually requesting for, I don't think it's at all order, because we need to promote those doctors. They need to be well remunerated. We need to take care of the interns and the rest.
This is happening thanks to the ongoing doctor strike. Efforts by COG to have doctors resume their duties proved futile on Wednesday, with the union downplaying governor's warning.
What we are telling the government is bring it on. We are willing to lose something for the sake of the profession. For the dignity of the profession, we are willing to lose our income.
The union is blaming both levels of government for issuing empty threats instead of finding a lasting solution.
We are even worried that the governors are trying to dissociate, to divorce themselves from a problem that they should have a hand in helping. And we are very surprised that a very government that purports to be able to sack doctors, to take disciplinary actions, is not able to sort out HRH issues that the unions raised.
With the clinical officers now set to join in the doctor strike from Monday, the situation may just move from bad to worse.
Hiyo maneno tumemaliza strike ya Monday. We are joining doctors on Monday. Kuanzia saa 6 ya usiku, vile tunapewa instructions from national government, from national office.
Bramwell Bwire.
All right, indeed, and Kenyans are on the cross. This is what it started as all in this morning. As we take a short break right now, broke Easter. Just like Judas Iscariot kissed Jesus Christ to betray him to Herod's men, Kenyans MPs cuddled the populace at the altar of taxation. And as Christians honor the sacrifice Christ made for humanity, Kenyans are reeling with empty pockets this Holy Weekend. The effects of high levies and a battered economy. This is a story that you want to follow on page 6 and 7 of The Standard. But also it is a two tales, as the Daily Nation will put it. Let me just try and zoom over there just to show you. A tale of two Easters, it says here. A mixed bag. Ramadan is on and schools are yet to close. Big divide. This is where now we see the disparity between the rich and the poor. It says, while millions of Kenyans have nothing to celebrate about this holiday season due to job losses, increased taxation, or a high cost of living, it is boom time for yet another group that made a killing from smart business deals and investments and now have a reason to splash the cash. It is a country of contrasts. You have a story on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation this morning. We want to take a short break right now. When we circle back, of course, we continue with our panel discussion here on the politics of the week that has been. Well, and also we take a critical analysis also of what Easter means for you as well with the trial of Jesus. Was it unfair? Was it unfair trial? Was it illegal? We'll take a short break.